Welcome back. Are you ready to be ultimate badasses? I'm going to show you how to make your own Colonial Marine helmet right here on the Evil Ted channel. Now, all you have to do is click on the link below and pick up your pattern, then jump over to Cosplay Pros and pick up the foam. If you guys are ready, I'm going to show you how to put this bad boy together. Whoa, what the? Whew, okay, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with the number one. So our 8mm foam helmet top pieces. Number one is 90, and of course bevel in the front and back. These guys got those cut, and we have 2 and 3 left and 2 and 3 right already cut out. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to heat curlies. I like to do that first before gluing. Got our heating board. With heating foam, you have to work quickly because foam cools quickly. So I like to heat it up on both sides as fast as possible. We're just going to bend this just like that. Excellent. We have part 1, heat curl. Now we're going to heat curl 2 and 3. When heating, we're going to focus more on this edge. This is the outside edge of the helmet. This is where they kind of join up. It has a little curl, but not so much. We're just going to go ahead and focus on curving this side edge out. So now while it's hot, I'm going to curl just this edge mostly. That's what's great about high quality EVA foam, is that the denser stuff, it heats and shapes really nice. Now moving on to number 3. Again, just the outside edge, curl that mostly. Let's do the right side, same drill. 3 and 2, right side done. Moving on to part 4, which is the front of the helmet. We're gonna go ahead and curl this guy big time. I want to put a really big, it's gonna fit on the front of the helmet. Hot, hot, hot. Okay. All right, moving on to part 11. We're going to cut this out. We'll be using 10mm foam. Now, this is the earpiece. We're going to have a bevel on it. So in order to do that, we want to flip it like this. So we take our ruler and we connect these guys like this. Let's use Rocket Prop's bevel wall cutter for this. There you go, nice. Look at that, see, nice clean bevel. And now this here will cut the trench for the microphone. There you go. Excellent. Now I'm gonna move to part 10. These guys are little slots. We're gonna cut these guys out. I'd like them to be round on the corners, so I'm just gonna take this brass tubing. All right, so now that I cut the little holes all the way through, I take the craft knife and I go right to the edge of the circle. All right. There, part 10's all cut out. Now we have this brass tube. Let's go ahead and move on to 8 and 9. Cut the straps out. The holes for the straps, and we use the same technique. We're going to take the tube. Right. Got the 2 here for 9. All right. Now that we have number 8 and 9, the strap slots have been cut out. We're going to heat form these next, but before we heat form, I'd like to round off these edges. Now, we're going to round off the edges on this number 8, but on number 9, we're only going to round up the top edge and the bottom edge because these guys are contact points for glue. So we're going to leave these guys still 90. All right, those guys are rounded off. Then we're going to take part 7, left and right. We're going to do the outside edge again, not the inside, just the outside edges. Okay, we have these now around the edges. Moving on part 9 and 10, same thing. We're going to round just the outside edges here and the outside edge here. I'm going to swap out because this has a bit of a hard edge and sometimes it's been nicking. So let's swap this out for the round bit so it doesn't damage my foam so much. All right, we have 9 and 10 has been rounded. Moving on to part 5. Again, we're going to just do the outside edge rounded and run up these corners too a little bit better. All right, part 5 has all been rounded. All right, now we're going to go ahead and heat curl number 8, number 9, and number 5. All these guys need to have curl to them. Let's start with 8. See, it goes like this. It's a slight curl to this. Goes on the back of the helmet, just like that. Perfect. Same thing with number 9. There. Oop, curl, curl, curl. That's the curl we're going for. Got it. Number 5. This sits on the side of the helmet, so I just want just a little curl on this one too. Just like that. Okay, it's glue time. I have my part 1 and 2 and 3 on the left side. We're going to glue those guys first. Okay, the glue is dry. To the touch. When gluing these guys together, I like to start with the top edge first. Just make contact so you make sure your part is nice and flush. Keep your eye on that registration mark. Line them up, and again, really focus on making sure the top edge touches first, and what that does, it helps eliminate the seams. Now sometimes you'll see a little bit of a gap or something stretching. That just means the glue still might be a little wet. That's okay. Let's go back and push it back together again. So now we're going to go ahead and apply glue to the inside of number 1 and the outside edges of 2 and 3. All right, the glue is dry. I'm going to start right here with the front. And you'll see this little hoop, this curve into it. And make sure you get that curve. So we're going to follow that edge right up to that registration mark. Like that. Mark right on the seam. Again, notice I'm touching the top edge first, so it stays nice and flush. The edge, just like that. Push, connect. Got it. That's the left side of the helmet. Now it's going to be the same drill we do for the right side. Now on these pieces right here, this little part is sticking out. I'm going to take the heat gun. I want to bend this out just a little bit. Because see how it cuts in? How it comes in and darts in. I want to kind of heat it up and push it out a little bit. I want to go like that. So you bend it like this. See, there you go. So now see it doesn't kick it, kind of straightens out. Do that with the other side. Bend it. There you go. Because that is the actual lip of the helmet. All right, now we're going to apply contact cement. Halves are dry. We're going to start with the front. Right where the rim, the hat, start with the just tip that edge. Gotta make sure it gets lined up just right. I want to get in there, get that bill, push, push, push. Make contact there. See, like that. Got it. Pushing the helmet down on the table. Keeping it steady, but like that, just like this. Line up, like that. Push, push, make contact, and boom. There it is. Now, before we glue this guy on, again, when you see on these registration marks, these are our center lines. So when you're tracing these, make sure you get these guys in. These are very important. And I'm going to take this line right here and draw that on the inside too as well. Now I got the helmet glued together. I'm going to take the heat gun and just kind of heat the whole thing up to get it soft. So you can kind of get it shaped up a little nice. So now it's hot. Like this, I take it down, kind of push it, shape it up. There you go. Let it take a little more of its natural shape here. Because sometimes when you're pre-curling things and putting it together. It has little weird bumps and stuff. But I found that once you get the helmet together and you heat everything up, it kind of helps it all fall back into its shape. Now this is going to be the front part of our helmet. What I use, I like to go ahead and just kind of gently place it on where it's going to go. Kind of hold it with my thumb, line up the dots, kind of doing a rough little marking to know where I'm going to put the glue. Okay. Before gluing this guy down, I totally forgot when I had the stone bit out, we're going to soften the outside edge of number 4. All right, now it all rounded off. Let's go ahead and apply our contact cement. Now I'm not putting on anything on the beveled edge. I'm just doing it on the flat surface that's going to make contact. We want to make that beveled edge line up with the beveled edge on your helmet as well. So don't put glue on that. Okay, now we're moving on to number 4. We're gonna put this on the front of our helmet. Now you guys can see I like the beveled edge on that seam line. I'm gonna start right there, beveled edge to beveled edge like that. Make sure it lines up nice and straight like that. Touch that front edge like that. Kind of push it down a little bit in the front like this. A little bit of front, whoop, keeping that edge going right like that. And then we come up here. There you go, get the front, woof, lined up like that. And I come down like this, and when I'm pushing on this, I'm pushing, making contact, following that edge like that. Keep going like that, right to the edge. See, like this, keeping that edge, that beveled edge on that. Keep going, and like that. Looks pretty good. I wanted to make sure we get this bevel, because when you look at it from the front, you want to make sure you get that nice flat. Let's take a heat gun to the front. Fantastic. All right, we're done with the helmet. Set that aside. All right, we have our 2mm strips. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take a stone bit. We're gonna round off these edges. They're a little bit square, so I'm gonna round those off, and then we're gonna soften the outside edge. So I got my, do that with a stone bit. All right, now I rounded off the edges. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of a longer stone bit. I find this is easier to put the bevel the edges. It gets a little bit wider. Okay, now our trim detail pieces have been rounded off. Let's go ahead. Let's glue them onto 6 and 8. Let's get some cardboard. All right, I always like using cardboard so I don't put glue on my table. See, this is where the cardboard comes in handy. You can just wipe it right on the table, nice and thin. Okay, let's take our long strip here. Okay, we've got our part 7s. We're gonna glue these guys on the side. Now you notice there's a bevel. The beveling end. While that glue is drying, let's go ahead and prep. We have 9 and 10. We're going to glue these guys together as well. Now let's glue these guys on. Make sure they're nice and flush. Now let's go ahead and glue these guys together. You can see they're flush. These spaces right here, we're gonna add some 6mm half round detail. That's gonna go right here on the edge like this. I'm gonna cut those to length. There we go. So of course, we'll apply some contact cement. We'll glue these guys down. Okay, now it's dry. Let's go ahead and glue these guys on. What we're doing is we're trying to create a hinge look. So we have my 6mm, this is the 6mm half rounds. We have a 6mm dowel, and we're gonna cut that for the centerpiece here. And this part gets glued onto number 5 in the center. But I don't want to glue this on yet. Let's go ahead and get this onto the helmet, and then we'll glue this guy on. All right, now we have the helmet here. You'll see these registration marks on the left side. These are going to be the cutout lines. So, and draw a line straight across like this. Come up there like this. So now with our knife, do that. So therefore, this guy gets glued on here, and make some marks for the glue. Line it up. There you go, we got that. So this guy drops here like this, right? Yeah, you want to really face him like this. Like that, and there you go. All right. Yep, line this guy up and stick that right. And this guy will go on like, yeah, just like, like that. Now, I realize something too, that when we go to do this, we're going to have to make some room for strapping. Now I got it and I'm thinking about it. Let me just go ahead and cut this right here, about 1 inch wide. And the reason I'm doing this is for the webbing. I'm going to view it because eventually once this is all sealed and painted, I want to go back in. There we go. So what they'll do, that'll allow us to glue a strap in here. And once the strap is glued in, then we could line everything up for the webbing so it'll be able to hinge. Very cool. All right. All right, we have these 2mm rivet details. We're going to go ahead and glue these guys on. These guys are nice and small, so I like using super glue. So let's do that. Glue like that. All right, now I have all the rivet detail on here. I like to come back in with a wood burner. It has this like circle detail I really like. Give it that like rivet detail. I'll show you. Just like this, line it up. All the rivet detail is done. Let's set this aside. All right, we're moving on to part 11. This is and so I want to add a little bit more detail to them. So we're going to go ahead and take a piece of some brass tubing I have here. This is 6mm. I got a piece of brass tubing. Let me cut a little thin. That. Make 2 of these really quick. Got it. And they get glued on the outside edge right here. There's a bit of a flare, and I want these guys to stick out straight. So I'm just going to take the craft knife and cut a little bit of an angle on them. Get that little bevel into them. A little dab of super glue right there in the middle like that. Just like that. Now, just when you think we're almost done, we'd take the 2mm circles we have. I'm going to put a little tab on these guys. Glue on the top here. And glue this 2mm piece right there on the top, like that. And just like that. And you notice you can see there's a bevel here in the back, and this is for the microphone. You can go out and get there's like aluminum tubing and things like that. I went ahead and got myself a metal, this one was little metal straws. So I'm gonna take the straw and we're just gonna put a little bit of bend to it for the microphone. Now this straw is actually 10.5 inches long. Let's do the bend at 3.5. Let's do 3.5. Make a mark here. Got my little vice grip here. I'm gonna see if we can just physically just use the my man strength and bend this. Not bad. Look at that. And to add some additional detail, we're going to use some foam dowels. I got this from my Cosplay Pros foam dowel kit. Yeah, this is a 10mm foam dowel. We're going to go ahead and cut this guy exactly 2.5 inches. Cut it. Take my brass tubing here and cut a little hole. All right, got that. Get on those pliers, grab in here, reach in here and grab that. All right, look at that. There it is. Now on the actual back of the microphone is a bevel. And then you go back in with a stone bit and you clean up the rough groove lines from the sanding drum. Now on the microphone, there's a piece of foam that's wrapped around it. We're gonna create that effect with some 2mm foam. Let's make that 1.5 inches. There. Let's glue our 2mm strip on. pilot. Yes, look at that. That is our microphone coming together. There's a piece back here. I know it's a little bit wider than these guys. I have an old dowel here. This looks like let's go ahead and do 1.5 inches. So this guy's 1.5 inches long. Same thing, we'll take the brass tube, cut a hole in the center. Let's see if we can do both sides here. Ta-da, it worked. And this guy slides on the back like this. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Again, this microphone doesn't go into, we don't put this in until everything's all sealed and painted, but just want to have everything prepped and ready for it. Take that. These guys are done. Let's set these guys aside. Okay, one more crazy little additional detail I want to add. Piece of the helmet, there's a little bit of a wheel, which I think is attached to the actual microphone itself. It sits right here in the bottom. It sits at an angle, but I want to cut this at a bevel it like this. Cut it square, about right there. Glue this guy right on the bottom, just like that. Yeah. There you go, like that, got it. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and glue 9 and 10 to 11. When gluing this down, you wanna make sure you go above that like bevel. So here, like this, like that. All right, looking good. What we're gonna do now, this looks great. We're looking at it all over. One more thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a sanding drum, because this looks pretty good. We're just gonna knock this down just a little bit and level everything out. Right, get that leveled out. Now we're gonna clean it up with a stone bit. Lip cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and take the stone bit, and we're just gonna round these edges slightly. Oh yeah, forgot to edit the pattern, but where the straps go. So you see these two bands right here. Like that. And let's go ahead and add some rivet detail. We'll add the glue right here. Let's go like that. Okay. This is my favorite bit for this kind of stuff. This is a tapered bit, and I like this for the seams and things. You run your finger over any high points or things are bumped like this. I can feel there's a little bit of a high point right here. We're going to come back and just kind of run over this and make sure there's no high points. We're going to fill in these nooks and crannies with Gap-Filla. Already got our Gap-Filla. This is great. If you want to know where to get this, I have links for this below the video. Bondo of Cosplay. But what I like to do is when I get it, I want to first work it into the seams, the parts that are uneven, and then I have a little cup of water here. I wet my finger, and I just go over it really light, and what it does, it smooths it out. All right, we've got our seams all patched up. Let's go ahead and set it aside and let it dry. Okay, it's now dry. It's set outside for 2 hours. I got some 220 sanding sponge. All right, this has been sanded. This is ready to be sealed. There's something I noticed really quickly I wanted to bring you guys' attention. I cut a little bit of space here for the webbing to fit in. And of course, on our earpiece, I was looking at it. And of course, put it on here. You guys can look, we go to glue this in, the webbing will go in here, but there's no room for it here. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take a mark here. Let's go ahead and cut out a notch for the webbing. There. Okie doke. Got it. Now we have these pieces we have to prep for sealing. So what I can do is I get a piece of scrap foam, a little bit of hot glue, put that right there in the back like this, a little post so that we can hang these in the spray booth when we seal them. All right, let's let those guys cool. What I did is I made a bunch of little quick grippers like this hanging on some armature wire. which allows me just to go ahead and clamp it like that, and therefore I can hang it in my spray booth. So let's go ahead and seal these guys. Okay, the same drill. Before we seal this, we have to mount it. I have my stand right here. We're gonna dab a little hot glue on it and place the helmet on top of it. All right, we have it mounted. Let's take it to the spray booth. We'll be sealing it with creature cast rubber. This is semi-rigid, and I'll be using my Critter spray gun. Well, that ends part one of the Colonial Marine Helmet. Everything I used in this build is listed below the video. While you're at it, jump over to my website, eviltedsmith.com, where I have numerous patterns. Also, I have the M41A pulse rifle, the incinerator, so you guys can add to your Colonial Marine cosplay. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I'll catch you back next time right here for part two of making your Colonial Marine helmet right here on the Evil Ted channel.